crafty friends, it's Andrea from Prairie Sky DIY, your Stampin' Up! Demonstrator in Manitoba, Canada. I've had this idea rolling around in my head for a few weeks, and today is the day. I don't know what it's going to look like. I don't know how it's going to turn out, but we shall see. I'm working with some vellum. I've got black cardstock. I'll be using the Merry Christmas Sentiment, I think, or maybe Warm Wishes. I'm not really sure. From the Berry Christmas stamp set, and also it's in the stars. So I had this idea for an all black Christmas card for a while. So yeah, we're just gonna see where this adventure takes us. Okay, where is that? Okay, that is right side up according to the diagram. I am going to do probably roughly 3/4, maybe slightly better. Whoops. There we go. But I am going to heat emboss with gold. So I've got my little embossing buddy here. We are going to just rub it all over. This is just to make sure that there is not going to be any embossing powder stuck where we don't want it stuck. And then we're just going to ink up with Versamark, which is my preferred for stamping when I'm heat embossing. But you can also definitely use the regular Stampin' Up! Ink. Anything that's fairly slow drying will work well. Okay, so we're just going to kind of apply, press down, and give it a bit of a rub. I had originally thought probably silver, but I actually decided that I was going to go with gold for this. So you can see sort of our stars. I'm just going to stick this guy back over here in the case. Now with Versamark, I don't get too terribly worried about washing my stamps because it's clear and it's not really going to affect the color impact for any future. Now I like to keep my embossing powder in a container, and then we're just going to tap any excess off. Give it one more little shimmy shake, make sure everybody's got embossing powder. Now you can see where I didn't apply the embossing buddy. I've got a little bit of a fingerprint there, so I'm just going to rub it off. And then just a little bit of a flick to get the excess off. And now we're going to make the magic happen. Cover this up because it's basically glitter, and I am not a fan of glitter. But we're just going to start to move our heat tool around. I just keep it gently moving in circles until it gets nice and warm, and then you can see it start to melt the embossing powder. It does take a few seconds for it to heat up, but when it does, there we go. You also might notice that your cardstock changes color slightly as you're heating it up. Do not worry about that. It will go back to its original color when it cools off. And if you find that your paper starts to curl a little bit, just simply flip it over and heat the other side as well, and that'll kind of even it out a bit. Okay, you can start to see that shimmer and shine happen. We're just going to set this aside for a quick second for it to cool. We're going to bring in our vellum piece and our Berry Christmas. Now I did stamp this in blue, which is why my stamp is a little discolored at the moment, but it's not a big deal. It will not affect how it's going to stamp. I'm just going to give this a really good rub ink up our stamp set, or our stamp. Now you do want to be a little careful when you're stamping on vellum because it is a little slick, and you just want to make sure that you're going to get a really good impression, but it's not going to slip slide everywhere. Bring your embossing powder back in. And then tap off the excess. And you can see we've got our sentiment fairly cleanly stamped. I like to also bring in my take your pick tool sometimes to hold it down so things don't, especially if I'm doing a smaller piece, so things don't fly around my desk. So heat tool is already warm, so it's going to do a little bit faster job for this one. And then we're going to set this aside just for a few seconds so that it can dry as well. Okay, oh, there it is. It's like I just had my punch. Where did it go? So I'm really, as I said, this idea has been in my head for a while. Really not sure how it is going to look in reality. So I'm going to punch out, excuse me, the bear in black and in vellum. And now my original idea was to do the bear maybe in vellum, but if you work with vellum, you know that it's not the greatest at hiding adhesive, especially on a dark background. So if I was going to do that, what I would probably do is use the adhesive sheet. It's basically like a whole sheet of tape. I would adhere the piece of vellum onto that and then punch it out and peel off the backing. But I'm not going to do that today. So what I thought I would do is just do a little bit of sort of like a shadowy idea with the vellum on the bear so that the black cardstock completely hides it. Now, where did I put my adhesive? That's a good question. Stick around, folks. You never know what's going to happen here. So I'm just going to put a little bit of adhesive onto our bear. And then you can see if you put it right on the card, you're not really going to be able to hide that, which is why I like to hide it in other ways. And then I'm just going to pop this guy up with a few dimensionals, regular or mini, or even, oh, actually the black dimensionals would be good too. I don't have any right close though. But you can also color your dimensionals if you wanted to. Stampin' Blends would be my preferred way, but the Stampin' Write markers will also do in a pinch. All right, change of plans. Slight, small change of plans. I'm just zigzagging back and forth with the tear. And then we're going to kind of straighten it out a bit. Yep, like I said, you never know what adventure we're going to go on in this craft room. All right, I will just do a matte layer, not a card base at this moment. So 5.5 by 4 1/4, which is the same as my black. So now it's going to kind of look a little bit more like he's walking on snow. And then, okay, layer that guy. Enamel Effects. We're just going to kind of I'm just looking for something to spread our enamel effects with. And of course I don't have a paintbrush close at hand, so we'll use nature's tool. And I'm not going to care if I get it up onto the black a little bit. This does dry rather quickly. And it is really quick and easy to wash off as well. So just give it a close, give it a quick hit. With our heat tool. And Stampin' Up! Heat tool actually has 2 speeds, which makes it really easy for applications where you really might not want quite so much heat. You know what, because I tore the bottom, I think I'm just going to tear our vellum, give it a little bit more of a casual look. And we are going to use the mini rhinestones with the biggest gem, or the mini dimensionals with the gem, because it does almost hide. So I'm actually going to cut this guy into a smaller piece to stick on the back. Oops. Mini dimensionals are tiny, so when you go to cut them, it's just that much trickier. And I actually just ended up tearing it. So I'll do Merry Christmas. We're going to grab our Take Your Pick tool and grab our biggest gem and put it directly on top of where our dimensional is. All right, so a mostly all black Christmas card. Something just a little bit different, a little bit shinier. Oh, actually, I was going to mention this earlier too. So I was just flipping it and I noticed that right here is not shiny, which means that our embossing powder is not melted. So we're just going to give it a quick hit and get it melted. There we go. Perfect. Oh, and actually this edge too. You do want to make sure though that if you're going to reheat a piece that has already been assembled, that you don't do it too much around where the adhesive is, because it will weaken the adhesive and it can let go. So there's our all mostly black Christmas card. Let me know what you think if you attempt something like this. I would love to see it over on my page. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope you have a great rest of your day. I'll see you soon.